Hey guys, Barky back with another Iceberg video, and this one we'll be going over the disturbing animal facts iceberg, which is one I've wanted to cover for a while. I haven't seen any other creators covering it, so here it is. I will say this as a content warning, there is some pretty messed up stuff on this iceberg. I'll be skipping some of the entries on this iceberg since there's literally no way to talk about them without getting demonetized. I'm also leaving out the entries that are common knowledge, like wasps in general. That's literally an entry, wasps in general, anglerfish, and the existence of flies. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I'm trying to get to 15,000 subs by the end of the year. Let's get started. Entry 1. Dolphins are frickin' jerks, man. Truly the dog-faced pony soldiers of the sea. Sometimes they attack humans just for fun, and there have also been records of them killing animals and then playing with their corpses. They abuse and assault other dolphins and sea creatures for kicks, and the males are also known for killing the offspring of other males. And that's one of the worst parts about all of this, that they do this stuff for at least 5 days on end without sleep. Don't mess with the pot. Many animals cannibalize their young. Polar bears eat their young sometimes, and this article I found says they do it because of climate change, but I don't really buy that. Like what is it? Like, oh man, it sure is getting hot out here. Oh man. Joey, come here. Just come here. You're looking mighty tasty. Chickens eat their babies when they have a calcium deficiency. And it can also happen by an egg breaking in the nest and the chicken eats it, not knowing what it is, developing a taste for chicken. Imagine if that happened with people. The prairie dogs eat their nieces and nephews, which is oddly specific and strange. They like to work together, so when two lady dogs get pregnant and have babies, there's apparently an incentive to murder and eat the other's children, so they'll have more time to help you with your children. Nice. Lions eat cubs literally just to show dominance, and it's theorized that a quarter of all lion cubs are killed in this way. And mother lions will also kill and eat a single cub after the rest of the litter has died, since they reason that starting over and trying again with a new litter is a more economic use of their time. Chimps do it because of the violent fight over food. They go to opposing tribes and slaughter the young, and then take them into trees to eat it. The blennyfish mothers will lay a large number of eggs at a time and leave their male partner to protect them alone until they hatch. But when the number of eggs isn't large enough, the male blenny will eat the entire batch of eggs, literally just because they get bored. Golden poison dart frogs can kill you with a single touch. This is probably the most poisonous thing on Earth. Within this tiny frog contains enough poison to kill 10 people. Literally just touching it can kill you. A millionth of an ounce of its poison will kill you in 3 minutes. It does this by secreting a batrachotoxin that's absorbed through your skin and shuts down your nervous system, causing convulsions, muscle contractions, salivation, and death. I can't even believe I have to say this, but don't touch these things. You're more likely to be killed by a cow than a shark. Yes, it's true. Statistically speaking, cows are more dangerous than sharks and bears combined. In the United States, cattle is responsible for about 20 deaths each year, while bears and sharks account for only 2 deaths per year. According to CowboyStateDaily.com, witnesses say a woman who was jogging near the Kowalton Trailhead in Boulder County, Colorado, was surrounded and stomped by 30 cows on June 8th, according to news reports. Because it's calving season, the Boulder County Parks and Open Space put up signs warning people using the trails to give cattle plenty of space. Moline said rapid movement and perhaps even the color of the woman's clothing might have triggered the attack. Cows have instincts to protect their young. If there's something strange out there, especially something that's moving quickly, they want to protect their babies, Moline told Cowboy State Daily. They're just like any other mother. He added that he was curious whether the woman was wearing red clothing because the color red can set cattle off. People will poo-poo it. That's literally what is written in the article. But there are different colors that animals don't like, such as the color red. Even though they're supposed to be colorblind, cows don't appreciate the color red, Moline said. It's something that stands out. It's distinctive. Geese teeth. Just look at these pictures. This is seriously messed up. On top of the fact that they hiss at you, but I guess the alternative would be growling, which I'm not sure if that's better or worse. Castorium and ambergris used in perfume. Castoreum is a resinoid extract resulting from the dried alcohol tinctured beaver castor, which are the sacs in beavers' butts that they use to mark their territory. Ambergris is popularly called whale vomit, but it actually comes from poop. And yeah, ambergris is still used in perfume to this day after becoming popular a long while ago, and castoreum has a really nice leathery, fruity, and musky smell in food. It's also used sometimes to give a nice vanilla flavor to foods. And there was some public outrage about this, but fear not. The Center for Science and Public Interest assured us that it's a small part of the food supply, with only 1,000 pounds being used annually. Thank goodness, I thought it was 1,001. Horned lizards shoot blood from their eyes. It's true, they actually do this. As a last resort, horned lizards may use one final defense mechanism that's particularly effective against predators like bobcats, wolves, and coyotes. They shoot blood from their eye socket. This usually frightens predators enough to make them flee. Fortunately for humans, horned lizards rarely shoot blood at people, but it still happens from time to time. Nobody is safe from their blood. Baby koalas eat their mother's poop. They do indeed do this for several weeks at first, until they're able to properly digest eucalyptus leaves. The joey stays in its mother's pouch for about 6 or 7 months, drinking only milk. Before it can tolerate gum leaves, which are toxic for most mammals, the joey must feed on a substance called pap, which is a specialized form of the mother's droppings that are soft and runny. This allows the mother to pass on the joey's special microorganisms from her intestine, which are necessary for it to be able to digest the gum leaves. It feeds on this for a period of up to a few weeks, just before coming out of the pouch at about 6 or 7 months of age. Dogs are the 4th most deadly animal. On our list of the top most deadly animals in the world by human death toll, we have mosquitoes at number 1, and number 2 goes to humans. 3rd place is snakes. 4th is man's best friend, just beating flies and assassin bugs at 5th and 6th place. Dogs kill an average of 25,000 people a year, but not my dog, he doesn't bite. Crocodiles can climb trees. Yes, they do in fact do this regularly, according to PBS, and they can climb up to 6 feet in the air. Their bodies aren't designed for climbing at all, but apparently nobody told them that. Cordyceps fungus. Anyone who is familiar with The Last of Us knows this, but Cordyceps fungus is an endoparasitoid fungus that infects its host, drains them of all their nutrients, killing them, then fills the body with spores so it can infect the next victim. And no, it doesn't work on humans. Yet, it only preys on insects. Genetically engineered goats can produce spider silk. Indeed, scientists have figured out a way to put our tax dollars to good work. And what a fine job they did. They managed to put the genes that make spider silk into goats, and the goats secrete it into their milk. You can harvest it from the milk and boom, spider silk. Unfortunately, didn't get web-slinging capabilities from this experiment. Brood parasites. Brood parasitism is a subclass of parasitism and a phenomenon and behavioral pattern of certain animals, brood parasites, that rely on others to raise their young. The strategy appears among birds, insects, and fish. The brood parasite manipulates a host, either of the same or another species, to raise its young as if it were its own, usually using egg mimicry with eggs that resemble the host's. Think of it like this. A human comes along and puts their baby in the crib along with your baby, and you look at it and you're like, yeah, I got 2 kids, it's always been this way, and you raise them both. Slow lorises are venomous. This is a slow loris. It's kind of a nocturnal primate found in Southeast Asia, and it's venomous. It's the only venomous primate. If they bite you, their venom can cause necrosis of your skin tissue, causing it to rot. They also bite each other, and the weird part is, nobody actually knows why they have venom. There's no reason for them to have it at all. It seems like their bodies know this too, because they have a weird, complicated process of making the venom. They have glands underneath their armpits that ooze noxious oil, and when they lick the glands, their saliva combines with the oil and makes the venom. It fills into their grooved canines, which then deliver a grisly bite strong enough to pierce through bone. Sea cucumbers eject their buttholes. When threatened, some sea cucumbers discharge sticky threads, snare their enemies. Others can mutilate their own bodies as a defense mechanism. They violently contract their muscles and jettison some of their internal organs out of their anus. The missing body parts are quickly regenerated. Thank goodness. Wow. Now that I shot my guts out my butt at my attacker, my priority is going to be like, now how am I going to get those back? Imagine doing that. Someone tries to rob you and just poop out your own stomach at such a speed it pulverizes your attacker, and you just grow a new stomach. Platypuses are venomous. This entry makes perfect sense since the platypus is found only in Australia, and everyone knows everything in Australia can kill you. The platypus is one of the few living mammals to produce venom. The venom is made in venom glands that are connected to hollow spurs on their hind legs, and is primarily made during mating season. While the venom's effects are described as extremely painful, it's not lethal to humans. Many archaic mammal groups possess similar tarsal spurs, so it is thought that rather than having developed this characteristic uniquely, the platypus simply inherited this characteristic from its antecedents. Green-banded broodsac. Leucochloridium paradoxum, the green-banded broodsac, is a parasitic flatworm or helminth. Its intermediate hosts are land snails, usually of the genus Succineae. The pulsating green broodsacs fill the eye stalks of the snail, thereby attracting predation by birds, the primary host. And these broodsacs visually imitate caterpillars, which are typical prey of birds. The adult parasite lives in the bird's cloaca, releasing its eggs into the feces. Meerkat dictators. Meerkats live in social groups consisting of a single dominant female who largely monopolizes reproduction of the group, and a dominant male who is the father of more than 90% of her offspring. Between 2 and 50 subordinate males and females that guard and feed the offspring of the dominant pair. Cockroaches eat human flesh. Cockroaches are omnivores that eat plants and meat. They have been recorded to eat human flesh of both the living and the dead, although they are more likely to take a bite of fingernails, eyelashes, feet, and hands. These bites may cause irritation, lesions, and swelling, and some have suffered minor wound infections. And they also eat poop. Classy. Minnows have teeth in their throat. Minnows are an essential part of the food web because they are food sources for predatory fish and other animals. Minnows have teeth located in their throat which help them grind their food before swallowing. These are called pharyngeal teeth. Sounds super cool. Petting parrots turns them on. If you want to get a parrot in the mood, all you need to do is give them a nice scratch or stroke on their butts. This kind of touch may make the bird see you as a potential mate and is not encouraged for the reasons I shouldn't have to clarify. It induces strong hormones in the bird and may lead to frustration on its part, so don't do it. Surinamed toads give birth through their back. A willing female releases 60 to 100 eggs and the male fertilizes them and pushes the eggs onto her back where they stick to her skin. In the next few days, her skin grows up and around the eggs, forming a honeycomb structure of pockets and eventually encloses them completely. I am once again glad this doesn't happen with humans. Catfish eat pigeon. Indeed, catfish will eat literally anything that stinks, including pigeons. They will lunge out of the water and catch the birds midair, taking them back to the watery depths of their homes to be devoured. I'm not surprised they're able to do this either, simply because they have very powerful bites and those barbs on the side of their mouths. I don't know if the barbs contribute to their pigeon killing abilities, but I'm sure it helps them. Horsehair worms. Horsehair worms, also known as Gordian worms, belong to the group Nematomorpha. They are similar to nematodes, but much longer, like 4 inches or longer, and very thin, 1/80th to 1/10 of an inch in diameter. They are found in water or wet areas, such as in or alongside streams or puddles, but they can occur in cisterns, livestock watering troughs, or most open outdoor containers with water. These harmless, curious creatures writhe slowly, contorting their hair-like bodies into intricate knots. The horsehair worms develop as parasites in the bodies of grasshoppers, crickets, cockroaches, and some beetles. When mature, they leave the host to lay eggs, and they are not a parasite of humans, livestock, or pets, and pose no public health threat, unless you're a cricket, a grasshopper, a cockroach, or a beetle. Frogs cannot vomit. If they do, they vomit their entire stomach. If a frog eats something toxic, it can't eject its stomach contents. Instead, the frog throws up its entire stomach. This is called full gastric evasion, and it's like dumping out your pockets. Now, a tiny creature, the frog wipes the stomach hanging out of its mouth with its front feet to remove any stray bits. I guess the title of the entry is a little misleading, since the frog technically can vomit, just not in the way you'd expect. Goats can lick off human skin. Goats can lick off human skin. It was used in some torture methods. They would soak your feet in salt, not the goats, your torturers. They would soak your feet in salt and tie you down. Sorry, I'm just imagining being tortured by a goat. They would soak your feet in salt and tie you down and make the goats lick your feet until the skin came off and you died of infection. Smooth. Bees boil hornets. In Vietnam, Asian honeybees need to defend themselves from hornets. And typically, when a hornet invades an Asian honeybee hive, hundreds of bees surround the intruder and create what's called a heat ball. With the hornet caught in the center, heat goes up, the oxygen goes down, the bees literally cook and choke the hornet to death. Unfortunately, the wasps know a way around this. Giant hornets will hunt honeybees on their own and grab them one by one. What is really lethal to honeybees is when they flip into a multiple hornet attack strategy. And when they do this, they essentially want to kill all the adult defenders so that the colony is no longer protected. At a certain point, the workers in the colony decide it's a lost cause, and they'll abandon ship and everyone leaves. And that leaves the entire beehive undefended. So, at that point, the hornets can successfully, without any interference, break into the nest and occupy it. And when they take over a nest, what they do is they ferry the bee larvae inside back their own hornet larvae so that they can eat them. But the bees outsmarted the hornets' outsmarting and figured out a good way to stop the hornets from invading their unprotected hive. They figured this out by covering their hive in poop. And this actually works. It makes a lot of sense too. I mean, if I didn't want my house to be broken into, I can guarantee you that if it was covered in poop, nobody would want to see what's inside. Jellyfish can evaporate in the sun. I don't know why you would do this, but don't leave your pet jellyfish out to sunbathe too long, because it will literally disintegrate. Given that they're 95% water, this makes a lot of sense. This process is called deliquescing, and all that would be left is a faint imprint on the sand of a jellyfish that once was. Chronic wasting disease. Chronic wasting disease, or CWD, is a prion disease that affects deer, elk, reindeer, sika deer, and moose. It has been found in some areas of North America, including Canada and the United States, Norway, and South Korea. It may take over a year before an infected animal develops symptoms, which can include drastic weight loss, which is wasting, stumbling, listlessness, and other neurologic symptoms. CWD can affect animals of all ages, and some infected animals may die without ever developing the disease. CWD is fatal to animals, and there are no treatments or vaccines. Scientists believe CWD proteins, which are prions, likely spread between animals through body fluids like feces, saliva, blood, or urine, or either through direct contact or indirectly through environmental contamination of soil, food, or water. The term prion refers to abnormal pathogenic agents that are transmissible and are able to induce abnormal folding of specific normal cellular proteins called prion proteins that are found most abundantly in the brain. Functions of these normal prion proteins are still not completely understood, which makes them super creepy. It's like they're only there to just wait until they get the green light to just misfold and kill you. The CWD prion has been shown to experimentally infect squirrel monkeys and also laboratory mice that carry some human genes. An additional study began in 2009 in Canadian and German scientists, which has not yet been published in the scientific literature, and is evaluating whether CWD can be transmitted to macaques, a type of monkey that is genetically closer to people than any other animal that has been infected with CWD previously. So be careful when consuming deer and elk meat, because it's not actually known whether or not it can be transmitted to humans. Whale sharks have teeth in their eyes. Whale sharks are known as gentle, bespectacled giants that swim in tropical seas and scoop up plankton with their cavernous mouths. According to new research, they also have a sharp eye. Their eyes are covered in tiny teeth. The dermal denticles, that's what they're called, are modified tiny teeth that cover the whale shark's eyeballs. According to marine biologists from Japan's Okinawa Chirishima Research Center, who published their discovery in PLOS One Tuesday, their bodies are also covered in the same teeth. These dermal denticles help to protect the whale's eyeballs since they don't have eyelids. Proboscis worm. Nermatea is a phylum of animals known as ribbon worms or proboscis worms, consisting of 1,300 known species. Most ribbon worms are very slim, usually only a few millimeters wide, although a few have relatively short but wide bodies. The longest species of worm is called Lineus longissimus, and it can reach lengths of over 98 feet long, which is longer than a blue whale. When threatened, it can shoot out a sticky proboscis covered in venom that can paralyze its attackers. You may have seen this thing in action before due to a YouTube video called Alien Worm Shoots Gooey Web, currently sitting at 10 million views. Orangutans have been observed to eat slow lorises. Yes, the beloved venomous primate from earlier in the Iceberg. Unfortunately, it does sometimes get eaten by orangutans. Orangutans mostly eat fruit, but also bark, honey, insects, and eggs. While researchers have recorded the Sumatran orangutans, Pongo abelii, killing and eating Sunda slow lorises, Nycticebus kokang, such reports are incredibly rare and thought to be opportunistic, according to researchers. In fact, this behavior has only been seen 9 times by 6 different orangutans in Sumatra. But with it having been observed 9 times by 6 different orangutans, we can rule out the fact that it wasn't just one crazy monkey and that this has probably happened a lot more than 9 times. Leatherback turtle teeth. When I took a trip to Hawaii all those years back, about the time the last dinosaur was slain, they told us not to touch the sea turtles. I'm glad I listened, because look at this. There's absolutely no reason for them to have this many teeth. This is overkill. I don't believe a single person that tells me that these things are herbivores, which leads me to the next entry. Herbivores can eat meat if they want to. Yes, many herbivores will happily eat meat that's available, and you most likely won't even have to trick them into doing so. As a rare snack, it won't do them any harm either, as some herbivores can eat carrion and bird chicks in the wild. Eating too much meat, however, will do harm to them. This cancels out their herbivore status in my mind, though, since herbivores are supposed to exclusively eat plants. I mean, let's say you're a vegan. If you occasionally eat meat, are you still a vegan? Of course not. I don't see why these animals get a pass. Latrine sloths. This story takes place in the Amazon rainforest of northeast Peru, home of the two-toed sloth. This gorgeous, enigmatic animal spends most of its time hanging upside down from trees, algae lending a greenish tint to its fur, enjoying a herbivorous diet of leaves, flowers, fruit, bark, and shoots. There's also a human presence in that region of the forest. Built in 1984, a research station called Estación Biológica Quebrada Blanco, or EBQB, has been almost continuously in use since 1997, with scientists rotating in and out as their research requires. It has all the basic facilities needed, including, of course, basic pit toilet facilities, a pit dug in the ground with a seat placed over the top. And that's where, on a night in early November 2001, scientists first saw something that's never been observed before. There was a sloth, and it was feasting. Feasting on what, you may ask? I'm sure you can use your imagination. This was documented over 26 times. Eventually, they put wire mesh around the toilets so the sloths couldn't get in and eat the poo. And the strangest part to me is that they never landed on a solid reason as to why they kept doing this. And that's all for the Iceberg. Thanks for joining me on this short and sweet journey through nature's depths. If you have any other disturbing animal facts, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one.